Hey people of the VC, it's Andy Cloudy Mulder. Last Sunday I celebrated yet another birthday. Seem to come around very quickly these days as I get older. Traditionally on my birthday I take the day off work and I go out record shopping and maybe spend a little bit more than I normally would. On this year though, my birthday was on Sunday, so it was more of a family day. But I took the day off work on Monday and headed out. First shop I normally go to is it's one that the Rock Scout frequents, which is their record shack. But I didn't know it was closed on a Monday, so I headed all the way out there and it was closed, which is a bit of a disappointment. But I did head down to a shop not too far away from there called Unknown Pleasures, which would have been my second port of call on the day. I like to go to at least 2 record shops on my Birthdig day out, and I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise, really, because last year when I went to Record Shack I blew my budget and didn't bother going down to No Pleasures in the end, and I found some great stuff there. And the second record shop I went to was my usual haunt, which is Vinyl Villains. I did have some music-related gifts off family and friends as well, though. First up, I was absolutely stoked to... my wife got me a stylus upgrade. So this is the Autophon 2M Red. Now, I'm not a big music hardware geek, but I've heard quite a few people talking about this stylus, and I found that my stylus was picking up a lot more dust lately, and it's the one that came with the record. The record player was an X-display model, so I don't know whether it just signs of age or wear, but I thought it'd be quite cool to upgrade. And can I put it on yesterday, and can I hear a difference? I think I can, but is there an actual difference? There probably is. It might just be wishful thinking on my part, but I did go through the whole process of aligning the cartridge properly, sorting out the weight, and getting it as perfect as an amateur like myself could do. And one thing I did notice though was I showed this record recently. So this was in my last update, Raven Crash Bang Wallop, and it's the purple vinyl press. And I'd said how track 1, side 2, run them down, skipped, so it was a bad pressing. But now I've got my turntable set up properly and the cartridge I think aligned properly, I can play this through and it doesn't skip. So whether that's just down to the quality of the needle or the fact that my turntable's better configured, I don't know, but it's got to be a good thing, right? So what else did I get? So obviously I was stoked to get that. I've had that on my want list. I've been wanting to kind of upgrade for a while, yeah, so for my wife to actually get me that was very, very happy. I got a couple of albums as well for my birthday. Saxon's Battering Ram. Now I've got everything that Saxon have on vinyl apart from this. I didn't even own this on CD. This has been on my Amazon wish list for a long, long time, but it's never come down below £20 from what I can tell. It's still sealed. So we'll do a quick seal to reveal now. So stoked to get this. I have heard this many times actually, because it's part of the music you get on Amazon Prime, so I'm very familiar with it, and I did see them on this tour as well. So what a great gatefold, old Nibs Carter at the front there, and I think this is just a black vinyl edition. Yeah, beautiful. So absolutely stoked to have that, and now I can say that I do have the full Saxon discography on vinyl. I'll have to do a video at some point of all those. The other one I got, I showed this briefly in my Chosen Few video last time. This is Manic Street Preachers, Postcards from a Young Man. Slowly but surely building out my Manics collection. Not played this one yet, I just cleaned it up yesterday, so it's in a nice shiny sleeve, but looking forward to giving that one a spin too. Onto the digging. So Unknown Pleasures first. Let's give you a quick plug. The address, Canongate, Edinburgh. This is down by the Holyrood Palace in Edinburgh, and as soon as I walk through the door, the heavy metal section, it's only a couple of, let's call them bins if you like, with maybe 100, 130, 140 albums in total in there. They have the usual sort of Iron Maiden section, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, some of the big name ones, and then they've got two sections, two small sections, so big, with just A to Z. And in the A bucket, as soon as I walked through the door, visible from the street, I saw this, and I thought, hello, this is going to be a good birthday dig. Now, Accuser is a band I only know through the VC, and specifically Scott Waters. He did a handful of videos where he was What's Spinning videos, and I think Vinyl Updates videos as well, where he was going on a bit of an Accuser kick. And this is the first Accuser album I have ever come across. Now, Accuser being a German thrash band. This is from 1989, original pressing. It's got a great label here. In fact, the vinyl is so good, I was wondering whether it was a reissue to start with. Because the vinyl's in absolutely mint condition. The cover has a tiny bit of wear, but not so you'd notice. But quick look on Discogs, definitely original pressing, and a near perfect inner sleeve as well, with lyrics and picture of the band. Okay, so that, as I say, seeing that as soon as I walked through the door, I thought, wow. I'm flipping through the bins. I went on to find 4 or 5 other German pressing, German thrash metal bands, but they were in various conditions. Now, this shop, you don't get bargains in Unknown Pleasures, but you get records that are in great condition. They know how to price them up, and I think what you'll find is you may pay a pound or two more than you'd find the average, say, or above average on Discogs, but obviously you're not paying postage and you get to see what you're getting beforehand. And there were a few other albums in there that were, I mean, that was, I'm not ashamed to say, that was £15 for that one. But they had other albums in there which half took my breath away when I saw them, but they were maybe £18, £20, £25, and that was more than I wanted to spend on that day on an individual record. And some of the sleeves were maybe scuffed up, but they were, you know, good prices for what they were when I checked online. So maybe another day I'll go back, and if they're still there, then fate is telling me to have them. Now the next two I picked up in there, I picked up 3 in all. I could have picked up 8. I think I had 6 or 7 records in my hand at one time, but I thought, no, I want to be sensible about this. I've got more records than I've listened to in a long time. I had a couple of records for my birthday, so let's keep it real. And I gave myself a little budget in there, and I did stick to it because I did want to go down to Vinyl Villains and see what they had. I said on my vinyl tag for the question, which grails are you still looking for? And I think I generally meant at the time, I couldn't think of anything that I thought I really, really need for my collection. And to me, the definition of a grail, or what I've realised from last Monday, is the definition of grail for me is seeing something that kind of takes my breath away and makes me think, oh, I have got to have that. And the first one of those that I saw was this, and it's Tokyo Blade's debut album from 1983. Now, Tokyo Blade are one of those new wave of British heavy metal bands that, looking back, are kind of awesome. And you do wonder, where did it all go wrong? They weren't as big and successful as the bands like Iron Maiden. And I think, in hindsight, it's probably because this was 1983, but it still had a similar sort of sound. It's kind of, the sound is kind of mixed between what Iron Maiden were doing in Number of the Beast and what they were doing in Iron Maiden Killers. There's a few riffs in there, so I think they may have just been too late for the party, and I think it probably, the songs sound the way they do because it being a debut album, they probably had the songs since the late 70s, early 80s, while they were waiting to get a deal. The label on this is really simple, but I kind of really like it because of its simplicity. I'm not sure if the colours really coming across there, but it's like a powder blue, very plain type with the Power Station Records logo at the top. Again, the vinyl is in superb condition, and because of that I had to pay a good price for it. So I think this was about £14, this one. So no inner sleeve of notes either, just plain. But this sounds, I love this album. This is absolutely brilliant stuff. So really stoked when I saw that as well. And that kind of took my breath away, and that made me think, that's a grail. I need that. One of the Iron Maiden records that I have been missing for a very long time, and always a bit jealous when people show that I didn't think of, that probably would have been the grail, I should have said, on the vinyl tag. But when I flipped through, I picked out the records that I wanted. I had another album that I was going to buy, and I just started flicking through the Iron Maiden bin. I thought, well, I've got everything, but I like to see what they've got in there anyway. And they had a few interesting bootleg style albums, live albums, that were again £25+. I'm not going to pay for that. But then I came across this Made in Japan, original from 1981, their live EP, and my heart skipped a beat. I just thought, I have got to have that. It was £10, but it was worth every penny for me. I needed this. Now, I've only ever come across one copy of Made in Japan before, and it was a hard card cover. This is a thin paper cover, very much like a 12-inch single. It's one of 3 different types of German pressing. So it's the 4-track version, Running Free, Remember Tomorrow, Killers, and Innocent Exile. I love the fact that it says on here. Now, so many bands, they have their live albums, there's always debate as to whether there are overdubs or not, and the band says no, and the people say yes, there is. But on here, it does actually say a couple of overdubs, but who gives a 4X anyway? I thought that's kind of great. That's just actually, people do this on live albums, but as long as it sounds good, what are you going to do? So yes, absolutely stoked to finally have a copy of Made in Japan. You can tell it's the German copy because it's the text about who writes what. Both titles written by Steve Harris, Paul Diano, are in English, but it doesn't say side 1. It says the German seat 1. I don't know German. I'm sorry, but nice plain logo. EMI Records. Absolutely made up to get that. I ended up putting a record back that was slightly more expensive to just get that, and I walked out of there happy, and that would have done me for the day. But I took another walk, and it was about another 15-20 minute walk down to Vinyl Villains. Never seem to find so much in Vinyl Villains these days, but I didn't want to spend too much more. But I did find a couple of things that I was quite happy with. So this is my Vinyl Villains bag, and let me show you what I found. Album wise, they didn't have a lot. Vinyl Villains is one of those shops that usually by the time I've got through A, B and C in the bins, I can usually tell if he's bought a collection or not, and whether there's going to be something good coming up later on. I went in there about a month or so ago, and not really too many additions have been added since then. But what I did find was a really nice, clean copy of Macaulay Schenker Group. Well, slowly but surely, over the last couple of years, become a really big Michael Schenker fan. I've never been a big UFO fan. They've not really clicked with me, and I've tried it a few times. But I really got into his Temple of Rock album from a couple of years ago, and Michael Schenker Group, now Macaulay Schenker Group, Michael Schenker Fest, all this stuff I absolutely love. Now this is a little bit more sort of commercial metal sounding, which you'd expect from 1987. Robbie Macaulay's voice sounds great on it, and it's in lovely condition with the it as well. Great photo of me. He had some hair, didn't he, Robin McCauley, and lyrics as well. That was the only album I found in there, but I did have a quick look in the singles bin and found a copy of 12-inch single Acid Rain doing a cover of Blondie's Hanging on the Telephone. So this was what, 89? This was around the time of The Fear, I think. So it's got Hanging on the Telephone, and on the B-side, live versions of Motherly Love, and rather bizarrely a cover of Bad News's Warriors of Genghis Khan. But I think I have just about everything that Acid Rain released in the 80s on vinyl now. There is a 7-inch version of this, which I think I would probably pick up for completeness, but only for completeness. But Acid Rain, yeah, rather unsung heroes of UK thrash, a band I completely wrote off in the 80s because I thought they were just a joke, a bit rubbish. But if you listen to their stuff, it's really, really good. Also picked up a couple of singles as well. I don't buy too many 7-inch singles, but there are a couple of bands if I see, or if there's something I think is a little bit unusual, I will pick them up. Tigers of Pang Tang is one of them. This is the story so far, with silver and gold, and a cover of the Faces All or Nothing, which is mainly what I bought it for, because the two singles, the two Tigers, Story So Far and Silver and Gold, are on the Spellbound album, but it's a really good cover of All or Nothing on there. And the other was this Thanks for the Angst by Chrome Molly. Chrome Molly being another early new wave of British heavy metal album, with Living a Lie on the B-side. And I saw Chrome Molly a couple of years ago, actually. They think they recently reformed, and they were supporting the Graham Bonnet Band. So that was really good to see. So I thought it was a nice pickup. Just before I went to pay, I flicked through the music DVDs, and I did find a DVD, and I thought I would probably never watch it, but it was only £3. I thought it would. Let me show it, and you'll see. So this is a Beulah Quo, and this is a movie rather than a rockumentary, starring Francis Rossi and Rick Parfitt of Status Quo and the rest of the Status Quo band at the time. It was made in God knows when. I don't know. But it's basically Status Quo are playing in Fiji, playing in Fiji, and Rick and Francis get themselves, and they're playing themselves. They're not playing characters. They're not acting. They get themselves caught up in a local Fiji mafia, Russian roulette stroke human organ trafficking syndicate that's going on. And I thought it would be truly, truly awful, but I thought, what the hell, let's have a watch of it. I came home, and rather than listen to the albums, I just stuck it on, and I didn't think I would last it, but it's actually quite an enjoyable film. It's very cheesy and it's very tongue-in-cheek, but it's meant to be. They're not trying to be serious. And the best gag, and I'll spoil it, this is a spoiler, the best gag in the whole movie is they're locked in a room by the mafia boss, and he's basically put some explosives around a little hula doll, and they say, "It's a doll, it's a bomb, it's a blow-up doll." And yeah, but that's my sort of humour. So yeah, I would actually recommend Beulah Quo if you haven't seen it. Right, so I had a great birthday this year. I didn't blow my budget, which is good. I find that you get less records for your money these days. 4 years ago when I was doing this, I would get 8 records at £5 each. Now I get 4 records at over £10 each. So shows the way that the market is going. But I still enjoy my birthday digs, and looking forward to next year's already. Thanks for watching.